In today's show, Scoot Henderson's left off the all-rookie teams. Is this a crime? And if it's a crime, who do we call? Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You are listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen. Coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen and tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, Scoot Henderson left off the all-rookie teams. He's merely a rookie participant, not a first teamer, not a second teamer, just a rookie in the class of 2023-2024. We'll talk about that, all of the implications, good, bad, and snubbery. Then in the second segment, I want to share with you my hottest take of the offseason. You're listening to Tuesday, May 21st show. I appreciate it. And now, week 3 of May. Week 3, I guess, behind us of May, I got hot takes. I've got some legitimate hot take for you here in the offseason, what I'm calling my hottest take of the offseason. Then I want to talk a little bit more about the Blazers core, young core to close the show, and kind of the two different ways I think you can look at where they are right now and the two different lenses in which to view this team as they currently stand in terms of their youngsters. Let's start with Scoot, though. The NBA on Monday announced the all-rookie teams, first team and second team. No real surprises on that first team. Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren, both unanimous choices, appeared on all 99 ballots. Brandon Miller of Charlotte, Jaime Jaquez of the Miami Heat, Brandon Podziemski of the Golden State Warriors was your first team. On the second team, Derek Lively of Dallas, Amen Thompson from Houston, Keontae George and Utah, Cason Wallace from OKC, and G.G. Jackson from Memphis. I probably, if I'm going to quibble here, I probably would have had Derek Lively on the first team and Pods on the second team. Pods was good this year, and he allowed them to, when they were rolling, he was a part of their best stretches. He was able to play in the starting lineup. He was effective. He played on both ends. Like he was good. Derek Lively was better than him. He was better than him. It doesn't really matter. First, the beyond rookie of the year stuff, like first team, second team is a rookie is like, it's a nice little accolade to have. It shows up on your basketball reference page. It's a feather in your cap after the rookie season to say, yeah, I was voted one of the 10 best rookies in my class, particularly for later round guys or for undrafted types. Like it's a real victory. It doesn't really matter for like the Chet Holmgrens, Victor Wembanyama's, Brandon Millers of the world. I don't even think you'll remember it. It's like a thing that you won't remember, that someone, a second team all rookie. Like the name I always remember because I'm a Tar Heels, like Tyler Zeller was a second team all rookie selection for the Cavaliers. Like Tyler Zeller, one of the 10 best rookies in his draft class? Probably not in the end, probably not. But like it kind of tells you what you need to know. Was Scoot snubbed? He finished 13th in terms of votes. There's those top 10 ahead of them. And then Trace Jackson Davis from Golden State, big man from Golden State, got the 11th spot, just edged by G.G. Jackson. And then Asar Thompson from Detroit was in that 12th spot. And Scoot came in 13th. He received 1 first place vote and 31 second place votes, appeared on 32 of the 99 ballots, just shy of a third of them. This is my lukewarm take on this. I don't think Scoot got snubbed. I don't think he got snubbed. I don't think he's better than anyone on the first team. I don't think this is close. I think all those dudes were better than him. Derek Lively had a better season than him. Amen Thompson had a better season than him. Cason Wallace had a better season than him. Cason Wallace doesn't have maybe very good counting stats, but He was an excellent defensive player and a 82 game contributor on a very good team. He had a really good rookie season and is very, very deserving, in my opinion, of being a second team all rookie. The other names are kind of where you get a little dicey. Keontae George of the Jazz has pretty similar counting stats to Scoot in terms of points and rebounds and assists. He was more efficient across the board, better true shooting percentage, better effective field goal percentage, about 10% better than Scoot on effective field goal percentage. He's more efficient, turn the ball over less assists, but turn the ball over less. I think part of this is that Scoot was the third pick whose graph was who seemed to be underachieving as a third pick, and Keontae George was the 13th pick, and he seemed to be overachieving, right? He seemed to be someone who was like, oh, he's better than I thought he would be, right? There is something around that. Excuse me, I said 13th pick. He was the 16th pick. I think outside the lottery, playing well on a bad team, and eventually at the end of the season, a starting point guard. He didn't play. They were kind of searching for a starting point guard, playing Taylor Horton-Tucker and stuff. But it's like when George ended up having similar counting numbers to Scoot, it's like, oh, he's better than I thought he would be. And when Scoot had those counting numbers, and he particularly struggled really early on, and Scoot was really bad to begin the season. I think that's part of this. He was bad. He was not. Scoot Henderson was bad to begin the year. He had a much stronger second half, much better final 15, 20 games. Kind of the very, 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 very end of the year really, really started to look a little bit better. But Scoot's first stretch was bad, and I think that sticks in voters' heads. And for me, I think George, I think that's fine. I don't find that as like a major quibble that he was behind Keontae George. But I think there's something to it with the 16th versus the third pick thing. But I for the most part, I think George was very similar numbers, more efficient. Fine, he's ahead of Scoot. I don't think it's a crime. The G.G. Jackson thing is a little different. He played 48 games. That's just not that many games. And I don't mean that in you need to qualify and all that. And he's a dude who earned himself a role from being, out of the being a two-way guy to on the roster, and had a freaking 44-12 game as a rookie, had, I believe, 7 games of at least 25 plus. He was, when he played, and his peaks were higher than Scoot's peaks for sure. He was one of the best scoring rookies in the league during the stretch run of the season, right? But he played half the year. He played half the year. That would be the one that I would circle. Keontae George, I think it's fine. G.G. Jackson, I think is and maybe depending on your own personal voting criteria, you say that's just straight up not enough, or maybe you say if you play that well in half the season as a rookie, blah 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 blah, you deserve it. If you look at his numbers, he's certainly more efficient and all those things than Scoot, and he scored at a higher level. I think he was just straight up probably better because you consider the defense too. He's probably just better than Scoot. Played 15 less games. He just didn't play that much. I mentioned that I don't think this really matters. I don't. In 2020, Kendrick Nunn and Eric Paschall were first-team all-rookie performers. Neither of them are in the league anymore. In 2021, Sadiq Bey and Jayshawn Tate were both first-team all-rookie players. Those guys are rotation bigs, and Jayshawn Tate probably wouldn't be in the rotation for a bunch of teams, right? He's a fringy rotation guy. Sadiq Bey is he's probably rotation guy, but he's probably not a starting level player, and he's a first team all rookie in 2021. In 2022, Chris Duarte and Bones Highland were second teamers. It's just not that strong of an indicator of anything. Scoot's got promise, and like I said, the way he played at the end of the season really matters. But to pick a guy third and have him not be voted one of the 10 best rookies in the league in a season where it wasn't like Scoot was buried, right? He was the starting point guard on night one. They gave him the keys, and he was unable to drive the boat. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think you could paint it as a good thing. It might be neutral. Right? You might say hey, he's really struggled early. He found his stride late. He played on a terrible team, and by the time he found his stride late, they just weren't watching the terrible team. He made all of his impressions to sort of the national media voting early in the season. They never caught up with his improvement in the second half of the season, and that's why he finished short of shy of guys. And when Gigi Jackson got the shine, because late in the season he was scoring 44, and like Scoot didn't have those highest highs. I don't think it's a good thing that you draft a guy third overall, give him the keys to the boat. He's unable to drive said boat, and he ends up not making an all-rookie team. But I don't think it matters. I really don't. Not in the grand scheme. It matters in the micro, and it doesn't feel good. Like, it matters in the immediate, I should say, and it doesn't feel good coming off this season. And Scoot was like a deserving fringy guy, right? Like I said, I think 8 of the 10 gentlemen who are on the all-rookie teams are stone cold locks in my mind ahead of him. The 9th guy, Keontae George, it's kind of like, for me, I think it's fine. And Gigi Jackson is just like a weird one. Was Scoot better than Trace Jackson Davis? Just very different roles. So it's hard to judge. And him and Asar Thompson are pretty comparable for me. Both have some promises, but struggled. Asar shot like 17% from 3, but does a lot of other stuff well, and kind of was in and out of didn't get maybe put in the best spots on a team that was struggling to find any spots that were good in Detroit. I think this is, to me, I do not come away from this thinking like, oh my gosh, how could it not be Scoot? What criminals? Take them all to jail. I don't come away thinking that. Maybe that's not generally how I operate, but I don't come away thinking like this is an egregious snub and Scoot deserves justice. I come away thinking like Scoot wasn't even the most deserving rookie on his team to be on this list. That's my hottest take of the summer. I want to share it with you in the second segment. Scoot wasn't even the most deserving rookie on his own squad of being included on this list. Join me for a heater in the second segment. First, I want to tell you that today's show is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, and it's winner take all time in the NBA and the NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props. That's the word I'm looking for. Player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. That's FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. All right. I promised you the hottest take of the offseason. Here's my hottest take of the offseason. Scoot Henderson wasn't even the most deserving member of his own team. Wasn't even the biggest snub, I should say, of his own team left off the all-rookie teams. That honor belongs to Toumani Camara. Toumani Camara had a better rookie season than Scoot Henderson. He doesn't have maybe a brighter future. Certainly doesn't have the counting stats. But I believe that Toumani Camara has a very strong claim to being the best wing defender in this rookie class. He's not Wemby. He's not Chet. He's probably not even Derek Lively on defense. But I would argue that Toumani Camara, among the non-bigs who are in this rookie class, that Toumani Camara was the best defensive player in this in his group. He's the best wing defender in this group, best perimeter defender in this group. He doesn't have the numbers to jump off the board, right? 7.5 points, 4.5 boards, a little over an assist. Didn't shoot particularly well from 3 on the season, 33.7%. Didn't shoot super well, overall from the field, 45%. He doesn't have the sort of like signature game where you could say like, wait, Toumani Camara had 37 one night. Like, he doesn't have the game that caught everyone's eye, right? He has the type of game that the League Pass nerds would have seen. He has the type of game that if your friends know who Toumani Camara is, it means they are a hoop head. They're someone who appreciates the craft of hooping. And to me, Toumani, if you're talking about impacting winning, Toumani was the Blazers' best rookie at impacting winning. I know the advanced stats really say that Duop Reith was maybe the Blazers' most impactful rookie. And both Duop and Toumani both received 1 second-team vote each. Again, Scoot had 1 first-team vote and 31 second-team votes. And Scoot, He had bigger games at the end of the season. Scoot has significantly more upside than Toumani Camara. But if we're talking about successfully impacting a game in a positive way, Toumani Camara, to me, was the Blazers' most positively impactful rookie in terms of helping you win any individual basketball game. If anyone has a claim to getting snubbed, it's your boy, too. Toumani Camara got snubbed for all rookie. If I'd had a vote, he would have been a second teamer over GG Jackson, no problem. Because Toumani played 70 games. He didn't have a participation problem. And he was a negative on offense early, right? Like, he's a negative on offense. No doubt in my mind. He struggled. He couldn't shoot the ball, and then he was passing up some shots, which was screwing up the offense, and then he was trying to they were really sagging off him, and he's just driving in, like hard drives into the teeth of the defense without a plan type of stuff. Some turnover issues, some decision-making issues, he was bad on offense, right? Loses his starting spot briefly in January, then he gets it back. And when he got it back, he was good doing less. Toumani Camara, his usage rate drops in the second half, once the calendar flips in 2024. Like he's using fewer possessions as when he's on the court, right? And in terms of his offensive role, but he's more efficient. He's shooting better. He's scoring at a slightly higher clip because of the efficiency. So he's lower usage, more efficient player. He just became a better version of himself as the year went on. And he was always an elite defensive rookie. For a youngster, an elite defensive rookie. Like I've said this before, like I don't know that Toumani would play in every round of the playoffs because you get further up there. I think maybe his lack of shooting, teams are going to just say, we dare you to shoot it. Like you see how they kind of do Josh Green on the Mavericks, and how they did Cason Wallace, quite frankly, for Oklahoma City at the end of that series against Dallas. They said, we're going to let the rookie shoot. Let's see if he can beat us. And he couldn't, right? He struggled. But like two would play on basically he would be like the 8th or 9th guy on basically every playoff team because of his impact. He's a pretty good offensive rebounder. He can get a little crazy with his offensive rebound crashing and kind of get himself out of position, but he's a good offensive rebounder. He's a pretty good like a smart, intuitive cutter. He plays defense. He wants to play defense for 90 feet every time down the court. He can guard a variety of positions, and he was an impactful, solid defender. Now, I don't know if he has the best defensive upside in this rookie class. I'd probably take either of the Thompson twins over him in terms of like if I'm just betting on like overall upside, because he's a little bit older than them, and they look like they might be really special on that end. I can say that I watched Amen Thompson a lot more times than I watched Asar Thompson. I didn't watch the Pistons as much as maybe I should have. The right word, as much as I could have this year. But I think Amen Thompson has tools to be a very, very, very special rookie. And from what I understand, Asar Thompson flashed that as well. But I like what I can tell you with my eyeballs. Like Amen Thompson looked freaking special on defense. I don't know if Toumani looks like that, right? But I know that he is ready to be a positively impactful player immediately, and he was pretty much within the first week of the NBA season. He didn't win the starting job until game 10. It was Matisse Thybulle for the first 10 games. So 10 games is like basically 3 weeks. So once he earns the starting job 3 weeks into the season, he was a good defender right away, an impactful defender right away. And for my money, he should have taken GG Jackson's spot on the second team, not Scoot Henderson. Scoot, not even the biggest snub on his own roster. Do guys like Toumani, who averaged 7.5 and 5, get all rookie votes? Not typically. And if they do, they're Cason Wallace's, right? They're guys who have an every night role on an excellent team. The Blazers were not an excellent team. You may recall that they finished with one of the worst records in the league, tied for the third worst record in the NBA. Like, do guys like that get all rookie team nods? No, not typically. And I'm not surprised that he didn't, right? But if I had a vote, he would have, because I think he was that good. I'll give a nod to Duop Reith here too. He's a little bit different case because he's 27. He's a little bit older. He's probably closer to like the player. He's probably the player he's going to be, right? Like it's unlikely that Duop takes a big jump, but he's a darn good rookie too, right? Like he was a guy who, once he found his role, had mostly positive impact, and the advanced impact metrics suggest that Duop Breath was just good all year. I think my eyeballs suggest that he struggled a little bit on defense, particularly second half of the season, but I think the Blazers have some young parts that are worth celebrating that aren't just Scoot Henderson and aren't just Shaedon Sharpe. And that's what I want to talk about to close the show. Coming off my hottest take of the summer, hottest take of the offseason. It's not summer yet. It's spring. We're like a month away from summer. So my hottest take of the offseason so far is that Scoot Henderson, not even the biggest snub on his own roster. But I want to talk about this roster. I want to talk about the youngsters, and I want to talk about the two lenses in which I kind of view the Blazers' young group. That's what we will do to close the show. Join me in that third segment, won't ya? First, though, let me tell you that today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made easy. It's also America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. It's the easiest, most exciting way to get in on the action. While you watch your favorite sports and your favorite players, you just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and then you can watch the winnings roll in. Right now, during the NBA and NHL playoffs, whether you're watching hockey or you're watching basketball, you can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. So you can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball, with hockey, with whatever else you're looking for. They got something for every sports fan, on the hardwood, on the ice, esports like League of Legends, and everything in between. So you can pick Luka Doncic. You can pick Breanna Stewart. You can pick Connor McDavid. You can pick Jude Bellingham, all in the same entry. Get it all in there. Make your selections. Just download the app and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. That is promo code LOCKEDONNBA when you download the app, and they will match you dollar for dollar on your first deposit up to $100. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond, and you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. I think when you look at this team, a lot of the hope is that Scoot, the man left off first and second team all rookie, pops. And this is a footnote. Hey, he didn't even make one of the all rookie teams, and look how good he is now. It is a footnote in an excellent career. Shaedon Sharpe also didn't make either of the all rookie teams. It's a footnote in an excellent career, right? It's a thing you remember about two guys who are special. But I also think the Blazers have enough young players that there is hope beyond those two. A lot hinges on those guys' development, right? Like the Blazers have taken them in the top 10 in back-to-back drafts. They're very likely to make some decisions this summer to kind of increase their organizational investment in those two, and we'll see what level of that, how far down that path they go. But when I look at this team, I kind of, my cloudiness about this team, my challenges with seeing what's next. I've used the analogy, shout out to my everydayers. I've used the analogy of not being able to see the other side of the hill. I can see the hill, but I don't know what's on the other side. Also, shout out to my everydayers. Remember when I told you I didn't think Scoot would make all rookie team? I guess I never believed, but this, to me, not a surprise, right? But if you're familiar with the hill analogy, it's part of this, like, I kind of know what might be on the other side, but I'm having trouble looking at the team and figuring out, like, really what's on the other side of that hill. I know they got to climb it and get to the other side, but I don't really know what's waiting for them on that other side. But I know this. Last year, they had 6 players on the roster that were either first or second year players. Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, Toumani Camara, Jabari Walker, Chris Murray, Ryan Rupert. Throw in Duop Breath, who's a 7th, and I'm not counting the two-way guys in Ibu Baji and Justin Minaya and Ashton Higgins, but like 6 plus Reith, right? We'll talk about the core 6 because they're younger. And Reith is... I really like him, very easy to root for, but like maybe not like someone that you think is going to have a great deal of development going forward at the age of 27. But I think some of the sort of challenge for me and some of my confusion, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, about like projecting what's next with the Blazers is that I look at these 6 names and I say like, well, who's even going to pop? Like who is capable of getting them to that next level? Like who of this group is going to get there? Is it going to be Shaedon Sharpe? Well, I think Shaedon Sharpe definitely has the tools to be very good. The question for him has been consistency. Can he play at his peaks, which we've seen for each of his 2 seasons for short stretches? Can he hit those peaks for 25, 35, 45 games, 55 games of playing at the peak of his powers, right? That's the difference in good players, and that's the difference in bench players and starters and stars is like, how often do you hit your highs? How often do you play your best? And Shaedon Sharpe, it's consistency with him, and it's just such a huge thing for so many players, and it's sometimes the thing that separates players from, good ones from not so good ones. But he has the tools to he has the talent and the tools to get there if he can hit consistency. With Scoot Henderson, he has some improvement areas where young guys naturally get better. He really struggled to finish around the rim this season. He struggled with turnovers. Those are 2 sort of natural things that players get better at, right? Players improve finishing because they get stronger and they get smarter and they get sort of how to attack and the physical tools with strength in how to attack and sort of use their body and all of those things. And turnovers is like understanding personnel, understanding your own teammates, understanding the rhythm, understanding the defensive personnel and tendencies of defenses, tendencies of specific defenders, and kind of just like a better feel from playing more minutes. You can cut down on turnovers. Those things naturally happen. He improved on shooting as the season went on. Scoot has some low-hanging fruit type of improvement areas where I think he can just be a better player by natural progression. Whether he takes a superstar leap is another thing. But I think Scoot has a chance to be significantly better, significantly improved in year 2 just by cleaning up sort of natural player, young player improvement type of stuff. If those guys hit, the 4 other names don't matter as much. But part of me thinks that, with 2 different lenses. Part of me thinks is man, the Blazers have a lot of guys who aren't quite there. Like Toumani, for as good as I think he was his rookie year, I'm not sure what his true peak is. Although I think he's an NBA, going to be an NBA player for a long time. Jabari Walker needs to figure it out on offense. Chris Murray needs to figure it out on offense. Neither of those guys are going to. They're not going to have long careers in the league if they don't get a more offensive skill there. Jabari Walker, for my money, is significantly further along than Chris, but he's also a season further along, so that makes sense. Ryan Rupert has some tools, has some skills, but he's very young and hasn't put enough positive stretches together to feel really good about where he's going to be. So you can either look at this lens in the way sort of I feel about it in my natural pessimism is yeah, they got a lot of young players with a lot of question marks. And I don't know what the other side of the hill is. Or you can look at it through the opposite lens, right? You can say, Michael, you're a pessimist, you're a hater, you're a doofus. Let me tell you how I feel. They got 6 guys who are in their first or second season. They got 2 players with superstar potential. They got 4 other guys who can all be NBA players. And that is how you build from the ground up, is you start with youngsters who have some tools and have some warts, and young players are not good, and then they get better, and that's how improvement looks like. And if they hit on 4 out of these 6, they're going to be excellent. If they hit out of 3 out of these 6, they're going to be really good. And if they hit on all 6, this is an all-time great back-to-back draft classes, and everyone will be excited about it. And I can see the other side because I know Ryan Rupert is going to become a 2-way threat. I know Chris Murray is going to straighten out the shot. I know Jabari Walker is going to add some offensive skill to go along with his elite rebounding and high-level motor. And I know Toumani Camara can continue to shoot at the 38% clip that he shot in 2024, along with his elite defense that, Mike, you already love and celebrate. So why don't you see that clearly he's going to be a high-level 2-way player? Scoot Henderson has the tools to be at least supercharged Ricky Rubio and maybe a whole lot more. And Shaedon Sharpe is what your friend Brandon Sprague called Baby Kobe. And when young Kobe finally blossoms, you are going to see the star that they thought they landed in when they took him 7th in the 2022 draft. That's the positive lens, right? Is that if they get it all right, this is exactly why you have these crap seasons, right? You have these down years because you are building the foundation of a core that can take off. And sure, the Blazers didn't get postseason accolades. Nobody ends up on an all-rookie team. Nobody's celebrating them. The extremely online fan base from South Florida is probably saying some mean stuff on the internet somewhere. But I think there are two ways to view it. There is either the way to view it to say, man, it is foggy on that other side of the hill and I don't see how they get there. Or you say, you got 6 players who are first and second years plus Duop Reith. You got other sort of young veterans. You have 2 players on the team that are basically 30 and above. You have young players. You throw in DeAndre Ayton, who's a young player who can continue to improve. And you've got a core that can get better with obvious warts. What obvious warts or obvious imperfections mean they're things you can polish into shiny new pieces. And I think that's the 2 ways to view this team right now. I don't think you have to pick a poll. I truly believe that the sort of onlineification of our culture has forced people to either say, I believe wholeheartedly, or I hate this thing all the way. And I think the real truth is that the answer is always in the gray. It's always in the middle. And people are afraid to say I think they'll be okay, because if they get 2 out of these 6 guys right, they're going to be in good shape. And if they get more than 2 out of these 6 guys right, they're going to be in a really good spot. And if they get 4 out of 6, in any 2 back-to-back drafts, boy, are they going to be good. You throw that in with 2 draft picks they've got, 2 first-round picks they've got this year, 2 second-round picks they got this year. They're going to continue to add to this young core. They're probably going to be back in the lottery again in 2025. They're going to get a lot of cracks at it to prove that they can make selections and get this right. And landing in the middle to me is comfortable. I don't ever feel the need to go to the polls. I don't ever feel the need to be pulled strongly one way or the other. I think that sifting through the nuance is more interesting than screaming, I believe this and I believe that, and never getting off your fence, right? I think sometimes sitting in the middle of those 2 fences and seeing I don't get it from either side is more interesting and more and maybe more closer to the truth, a little bit closer to the truth. If you feel strongly that this core is going to be really good and going to pop, let me know in the comments section here on YouTube. Leave a comment below. If you are worried, let me know why you're worried in the comment section here below, or you can send me an email, lockedonblazerspod@gmail.com. That's going to do it for today's show. Do me a favor. Tell a friend about the program. Tell them they can get it wherever they get podcasts and also on YouTube. It's free on all platforms, coming at you Monday through Friday, each and every weekday. End of this week, we are going to shift back into our heavy look at draft stuff, including a fun draft interview on Friday, posting Friday, that you are not going to want to miss. It's what we do 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Tell your friends about the program. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.